Welcome to the Pool Nation podcast, where it's all pool talk. And we ain't talking about netting and jetting or splashing and dashing. We're talking about becoming a nation of pool pros. We talk about the latest products, trends, and training in the pool industry. Now let's welcome your host, with over a decade of industry insider experience and still the reigning champion of Marco Polo, Edgar de Jesus, and his co-host, John J.J. Flawless, the fastest netter in the West, and Zach the Pool Boy Nicholas.
Welcome, everyone, to the Pool Nation Live podcast. I am your host, Edgar de Jesus, and yes, I am the reigning champion of Marco Polo, along with John J.J. Flawless, the fastest netter in the West, and the famous Zach, the Pool Boy Nicholas. Today, we're talking about the boot camps out in Oxnard and out at Heritage. We're talking about the $10,000 Pool Pro Championship, and we are going to be talking about the 5 habits that we've noticed of the most successful people that we meet out there in the pool industry. I want to welcome everyone to our live podcast, the podcast where it's all pool talk, and we ain't talking about netting and jetting or splashing and dashing. We're talking about becoming a nation of pool pros. And yes, we will talk about the latest products, trends, and training in the pool industry. But before we get started today, I want to thank our visionary partners for this podcast, the SPPA, Blu-ray Excel, Aquastar Pool Products, Natural Chemistry, Raypak, Heritage Pool Supply, Hayward Pool Products, Poolside Tech, and Pool Brain. We want to thank them for their continued support. Mr. Zacharias, good morning. How you doing?
Good morning. How are you?
I'm fired up and ready to go.
Yeah, I'm fired up. It's been an interesting few weeks. You know my woes. We're selling our first home that we kept as a rental, and it's a little bittersweet. On one hand, I'm ready to just wash my hands of this thing. And on the other one, it's sad to see it go. But it's just, if you know me, I wouldn't say a perfectionist, but I care. And it's been a hard process for me because we do all this work and upkeep the house. And I'm always like, do it right and spend a little bit extra and all this stuff, like all throughout time. And then we get this thing already. It's beautiful. Everyone that's viewing it is excited. And we got someone and they get the inspection done. And the freaking inspector comes through and craps all over a bunch of stuff. And it just makes me like, really? I've done everything in my power. So the process, everyone's like, this is normal. This is just part of the process. But for me, it's been a struggle, a little bit stressful. And I was telling my realtor the other day, I was like, I don't think I'm the right candidate for real estate. And she started laughing and she said, yeah, you probably wouldn't be a good real estate investor. But
she's telling you you're not a good customer.
Yeah, I feel bad. But we have had that situation where she's like, usually it's one thing like this that happens or one thing like that. And we've had we're the odd statistic that it's like some of the things that we've had to deal with and take care of, but we're getting it done. And by the end of April, hopefully I will be free of this thing and feeling like $1 million.
Get it off your shoulders.
For real. I'm ready.
So obviously we did Heritage, we did Oxnard, and then I went to ASU to go visit Sienna. And then today I am in OU and I came over to visit Brianna. And so here's the funny part. I remember 4 years ago doing this podcast and pretty much like getting all choked up and all cry because Brianna had gone off to college and all that kind of stuff. And here I am. And today is her last parents weekend. It's crazy. Like she's graduating May 10th. She's graduating in 30 days. She's going to be graduating. So it's crazy. And I was thinking of Maria because I remember talking about it on the podcast and Maria being very supportive. And she sent me a nice little message and said, she's going to be okay. It's going to be exciting for her to go to college and all that. Now I'm like, oh my God, I need to message Maria and be like, man, 4 years flew by, Maria. Like she's graduating.
Flew by. That's crazy.
Just absolutely insane. So it's the last parents weekend. So doing the podcast up from the hotel room up here. And
yeah, you've been on your college tour the last week.
I have, it was fun to get out and see Sienna at OU. And it's funny because they're just so different personalities, right? Where Sienna's going 100 miles an hour and stuff like that. And you go visit and then she goes and she drops you off. And you know that she's just like back into her normal thing where Brianna's a lot more, I don't want you to leave and I don't want you, she's a lot more kind of emotional to that side. But anyways, it's great to see that they're both doing really good and all that. But man, we've been literally on the road, Zach. It was like we did Heritage and then we turned around and we did Oxnard and obviously did those tours, came back. We were on talking for a couple of days just from the office, but it's been crazy just trying to catch up.
It's been a whirlwind for sure.
It has, huh? And then in the
Yeah.
middle of it, we had this Spotlight and Insights e-magazine newsletter that we put out. So we're trying to wrap that up and trying to get ready for the next thing. So it's been crazy. It'll be good to get back into the normal next week.
Yeah, it's still going to be 100 miles an hour, I feel. It's like on one hand, it's like, okay, a little bit of breathing, but I'm like, no, there's a lot of stuff in the pipeline. So.
Right. So yeah, we got some sponsors that are coming out for the podcast and stuff like that. So that'll be exciting. And we get into our podcast season.
Just no more flights for a while. So I'm excited. I'm good.
Yeah, you're good, right?
Yeah.
So we should be good. Don't celebrate too much because we have that one thing up in the air that we might drop. So it might put us back up in the air.
Yeah. Dude.
We're going to have to get you an RV, Zach, a Pool Nation
real.
RV. And then you could just drive the RV everywhere just to kind of,
Yeah, I'm ready. I'll just retire and just be the driver.
just drive. Yeah. So, Zach, want to talk about a couple of things. Want to talk about the boot camp. I want to talk about the boot camp at Heritage. I want to talk about the boot camp in Oxnard. And then I want to talk about what we were talking about. We sat down and looking at all the people that have gone through the boot camps and through all the education and stuff like that, and look at those, maybe what are the key habits that make those people more successful. And we've been talking a lot lately about the scaling and the different phases that everybody has. And so one of the things that we did is on one of the trainings, we talked about the key steps of leadership, the key, what did we call it? The basic principles of leadership that have to go into every phase. As we were talking about this, we're like, man, we should figure out, Zach, at each phase, what are some of those key traits that need to kick in to be able to tie it into that. But want to talk about the Heritage Boot Camp was absolutely amazing. We had 90 something people in there. We're excited to get together. So let's talk a little bit about that. Why don't you tell me what was your first impression when we walked in on day one?
It's been a couple years of doing these boot camps and going to different ones. And at the Heritage one, I think one of the things that stood out this time around, it was the energy on that first day when everyone's coming in. I think people are getting accustomed to the idea of the boot camp, and now they're showing up and it's just like everyone's just ready to rock and roll, to learn, to invest in themselves. The conversations are good, the excitements. We talk about it with the awards. There's just kind of this magic, but it's this gathering of people that are like-minded and they're ready to go. They're ready to get better. And you could really just feel that going in there on day one.
Yeah, it really is interesting how they've changed from the first one that we did at your place. And obviously it was a lot smaller and we were doing what we do and trying to test it out and tweak it and make sure that we get it right. And man, they've come a long way. They've really come a long way from that. And I agree. A lot of it was the energy. You had some people that have been to the boot camps before that were coming back going, man, last time I learned so much, but it was so much information. We wanted to come back. One of the things that I've been noticing a lot lately is we're getting companies that the owners come and then they bring their 2, 3, 4 employees. You look at, you had Anthony that brought people there, and then forgive me because I can't remember off the top of the head, but there was a guy from Oklahoma, a design construction service company that brought his 2 employees. And then you had the people from Tennessee that brought 3, 4 employees that flew out. You had Gold Medal Pools that had 18 of their employees there at the boot camp. So you're starting to see that a lot of these people come, they do the boot camp, they see the value of it, they see the education, and then they're bringing their employees. And when you talk about that, Zach, think about it. You're a small company. You want to prevent turnover. You don't want your employees to quit. You need to do training. And when you're at those smaller phases, it's hard to put all those things together and be able to go to a boot camp and be able to check a couple of those things, right? Like you are doing the team building. They are getting exposed to a bigger industry and being able to talk to other companies out there. And you're able to train them. And most of them, Zach, were from out of town, right? So they're coming, they're spending the night. So it was awesome to see that.
That's what's always amazing to me is because you almost think that like majority of the people are going to be from the local area. And there was a good amount of people from the local area, but there was also a huge amount of people that made this journey to come here and participate. And as we were getting this started and going through it, there's a lot of people didn't know what to expect. So they come in, they're a little timid. Some of the relationships haven't been built yet. But like I was saying, is like this different energy because it was like people were coming in and they're like, okay, I'm ready to rock and roll. I know what to expect. I know the routine. And then they're bringing people with them to expose them to this training. And they're excited. Okay, we're going to get you in here learning this. And it was a lot of fun to see that. And like you were saying, like, what a great way to get your people educated and then also have like this reward of a vacation and a reward. I mean, everyone's working and learning, but it's still such a great experience for them, a different environment, get out of the norm, eat good food, meet good people. And the cool thing was to see a lot of these relationships that continued on from previous boot camps.
Yeah. And we talk about it at the boot camps, and I'm very vocal about it. It's like you have to come to these events to network with other people. And I mentioned it a couple of times. If you came to this boot camp and you did not network and you don't leave with at least 2 or 3 phone numbers in your phone from new people that you've met, you've wasted half of the boot camp, right? Or you've wasted your time coming to the boot camp, because this is what it's about. It's about creating that network of people that you're going to be able to reach out to. And I did see a lot of people just getting out of that comfort zone and going and talking to each other from different states. They're kind of having their conversation and they're exchanging phone numbers. And so it was exciting. It's really exciting to see that community continue to grow and blossom. What were some of the favorite hands-on stuff that you saw out there? There was a couple of things that we changed up a little bit, but which one did you hear, or which ones did you feel that was the better ones?
They're all awesome. And we were talking about it. Talk about firing on all cylinders, right? Like the trainers, the people attending that are the different companies, Aquastar, Raypak, Poolside Tech, like they're getting very familiar with the process and it's very efficient now. And it was exciting to watch. And this one's always exciting to watch is the automation and people are actually going through the process of wiring. And there's a lot of people there that are very familiar with that. But then you have a lot of people that have never really had the opportunity to pick up some wire strippers and go through the process of stripping the wire and connecting things, and watching people get to engage in that process is really cool and just gain that confidence. A lot of these things can be very intimidating, and don't get me wrong, there is definitely a safe, correct, technical way that these things need to be done. But a lot of people just shy away from it. But once they start getting this exposure, I mean, I think it really opens them up to like, you know what, like I could further my education in this and I can learn these things, or that's not as bad as I expected it to be. So I thought that was really cool to watch.
Yeah. For our industry, I think a lot of it is we talk about the hands on, but it's very different. It's very different than what we do out there. I think one of my favorite things to watch is, and it doesn't matter what it is that they're doing, whether it's the heaters or the pumps or the automation or any of that, is you will have people that are standing there and you have somebody that's brand new that's never cut wires or stripped wires or any of that. And they start to do it. And then you have somebody that's done it before. They'll come up to them and say, oh, here, let me show you how I do it. Or let me show you my technique. And, and it's kind of neat to see that dropping of the guard where people are willing to jump in and help those. Sometimes you get some of these people that bring their employees and they're working on a heater, and all of a sudden you'll see 3 or 4 of them, and you see the owner or the boss taking the initiative to, oh, here's how you do this and here's how you do that. And it's kind of neat to see that, because it's this awesome environment, but then to be able to be at the stations with your employees and show them how to do it puts you on an intimate one-on-one with your employees, and you're showing them how to do it. So it's always exciting to see those.
Yeah, for sure. I love watching, and like we are talking about, as a boss, like it's hard to take the time when you're stuck in the day to day and things are moving, it's hard to find the time to go out and like teach your people on site. Like it needs to be done, it has to be done, but it's cool because it's more of this relaxed environment. Like you were saying, it's like it might be a manager or boss or owner with their team, and they're able to sit back and guide them and coach them through the process and just really get that building time with them. So
you have that one-on-one time with them that you can spend, and you're taking them out of their environment at work. You're putting them in a different environment to spend that one-on-one. So it's awesome to see that. It's awesome to see everybody jump in and helping each other and stuff like that. So let's talk a little bit about business. We always say that we like to teach the behind the pools, right? So you could be the best pool pro, you could be the best installer, but one of the most important things they have to do is really the behind that. So what was some of your feedback? What was some of the things that you saw around the business side of it? Because this was the first time that we really created some education that we're working on that we can't talk about yet. And everybody has to wait till May to figure out what it is that we're doing with a lot of this business education. But a lot of it we had Doreen there, and we built this initial track so that we make sure that everything that we do builds on top of each other.
yeah, first, I think we need to give a shout out to Doreen because she was losing her voice right before she went up and
She was like you.
yeah, no, we
You
were
were
both
both.
just no voice. It is awesome to me to see like the business side, like people are getting more engaged with it and people are starting to realize, like you were saying, like everyone has their it, but you can't always do the it. You've got to get back a little bit and start running your business. And you're seeing this bigger group of people, more turnout to these classes. And that was a lot of fun. And then as you're going through, you just see people having these like aha moments and these kind of realizations. And to me, I love when you see that look like, oh, okay, that makes sense. And, we're not solving the world's problems in a day of classes, but we're hopeful that what it does is gets the cogs turning, the wheels turning, and you can really see that. And then I love the way that it's a peer-to-peer type of environment because we had such a great mix of people in that day of classes that were at all different phases of their business, all different roles. We had CEOs of large companies, managers, employees, and it's cool to for them to ask a question and then hear some other people chime in. This is one way I look at it, or when we encountered this problem, this is maybe how we went about it. And you get some back and forth going on, again, going into the relationship building. So to me, that's what stands out to me. But definitely just a huge uptick in interest in what it takes to run your business.
Yeah, and it was neat. Now that you say that, we got to give a shout out to Hal Denbar. He came out and was out there as well and participated in some of the classes. And it's like you literally had people that had 40 pools, and then you've got people that have 13,000 pools in these rooms. And a lot of it was exactly what you're saying is somebody would ask a question and you would get feedback from all different sizes of companies of how they do things or how they transition from one thing to the next.
Yeah, and there's a humbleness to the group.
Yeah, nobody was bragging or everybody was genuinely answering.
Bragging. They're helpful. They're humble. They even admit that they don't know it all. There's not one person in that room that's, nope, I've figured it all out and this is exactly how you have to do it. And that's what I love. And that's where I think the most learning happens, because you get people they're able to come out of their shell. They're able to let their guard down. They don't feel like if I say something, someone's going to judge me, attack me, or tell me I'm wrong. So I love it.
The other thing that's interesting is you talk about there was people from Arizona there was people from Georgia, there was people from Florida, there was people from New York that came down, Tennessee, California, everything. It's also interesting to just talk about how different markets do different things. And so that always comes up, and here's how we do it in our area, and here's how we do it over here, and this is how it's done over here. And it's interesting to always get their different perspectives of it. But I think a lot of it was really interesting from the business side. And really, we started off by talking about the different phases of the pool pros. And I think it's important for the pool pros to understand what phase they're in, what things they should be doing, what are their strengths at that phase, but more importantly, what are the things that they should be looking at for the future? Because whatever phase you're in, not only do you have to focus on what you're doing now, but you have to focus on what's coming next so that you don't get yourself into a situation where that's very difficult. And, Doreen did an amazing job at talking about the basic principles of leadership that tied into each one of those phases. And so we talked about all four of them, right? We talked about the foundational, the balancing act, the scaling. We talked about the empire. And then what she did is she broke down what are the leadership traits that you need to have at each one of those and at what level. And I think that was a big aha moment, not just for everybody there, but also for me, because I hadn't thought about it, right? We're so focused on what are the things that you should do, but then it's, man, what things should you do as a leader that have to tie into those phases?
Yeah, it's super complex on one hand, but like you were saying, if we can break this down digestibly and people can recognize this is where I'm at in my journey, here's the things that I currently can focus my time and energy, my limited time and energy on. And then here's the things I need to look for to the future. But Doreen is masterful in the way that she was able to tie it together, correlating to the phases and the leadership principles.
Yeah, so that was a great time. Obviously, we talked about breaking down, figuring out your numbers, your cost of service, all that, which, by the way, we forgot. We also did the matrix class that was on the operational and financial KPIs. That was gold. And we'll talk about that a little bit. But
and the tour.
Talk about aha moment. We did a tour of gold medal pools, and that was what, Friday morning? Was it Friday morning? Yeah, Friday morning. We were there at 6:30 in the morning, did that tour. Talk about inspirational.
And I had some of my team there, and I was
How fired up
giddy
were
to
they?
have them. Oh, they were all fired up, because it's one thing for me to see it, come back, and then explain it, but it's just a whole nother thing when you experience it. And they were super fired up. And it's like, I've talked about a lot of these things, but to actually see them in action, I think now they have a clear picture of, okay, when we get back, like, this is how these things should look. And the room was just buzzing. And
A lot of people there.
a lot of people, and massive shout out to Gold Medal Pools. And what an amazing team. These guys were like some of the team leads that they have their board, their team, they're teaching, and they're talking to us like we're actively a part of the training, and they're explaining and going through, and they're not skipping a beat. It wasn't like, oh, there's all these people in here and I'm kind of off my game. They were just like, boom, firing on all cylinders. And it was really cool to see. Talk about well-oiled.
And it was a great time. And man, there was a lot of people there that morning. I love that they're just like an open book. They're like, let me show you, let me do. And he talked about some things and some things that they could do at that size, and things that they wish that they could do at that size that they can't do. So it's not exactly kind of like you were saying. They're not coming in going, oh, we have it all figured out. He's coming in going, no, I'm hoping to learn a couple of things from you guys that we can implement into ours to make it better. We did on that one was the operational KPIs and the financial KPIs. And my mind was just blown. I had to walk out of the room twice to go take care of a couple of things. And it was like that movie that you have to go to the bathroom and you just don't want to leave because you don't want to miss any part of it. And I was like, and I'd run out, take care of it, run back in. But just, man, masterful, just breaking down those financial KPIs.
And that presentation's available for Matrix members now, right? To rewatch, because I want to go through that again.
Yes. So we recorded it and it's been edited and it's up on the Poolman University for those Matrix members. So only the Matrix members can watch that, but everybody can watch that video. That's part of the Matrix. The business side was really engaged and people were really there was a lot of conversations afterwards where people were coming to me hey, you talked about this, or where can I get more information about this? Where can I do that? And it was great. It's great to see that engagement and see people be a lot more open about talking about the business side of it, which is, for us, it's our foundational principle, right? We want pool pros to be financially successful, and we want to give them the tools to be able to do that. So it was neat to see that engagement. And so obviously we talked about the cost of service, knowing your numbers, your metrics, your micro businesses. And then Doreen just absolutely brings it home with driving results through accountability. It's one of those where it's like, you can go to any education, you could go to the boot camps, but you could go to any show, you could go to whatever programs, like the program that you've been to, the Goldman Sachs and all that. But man, at the end of the day, it's about that accountability and that doing it, because if you don't take what you've learned and put it into play and hold yourself accountable to it, you're caught in that hamster wheel that I'm always talking about, or you're just spinning and spinning.
Just an idea guy at the end of the day.
Yeah.
With no action. Yeah, no. And that day for me was the one where I was sitting in there and you'd come in and be like, hey, can you help me with this? I'm like, no, I can't help you with this because I'm eating all of this up right now. It was great. And I think my biggest takeaway personally, and I mean, I've always tried to operate this way, but it just really drove it home, was the see it, right? Like that she was talking about, and just recognizing like where you are failing and not ignoring it, but seeing it. So yeah, accountability, it's a buzzword for sure. But like, other than that, it's like, there's not a lot of opportunity to really learn about accountability and how to be accountable. And again, I had some of my team in there and I think it was really good. I think they had a lot of aha moments with it. So it was good class.
Your team was really engaged.
Mm-hmm. I'm proud of them.
Proud moment.
Yeah.
For proud
sure.
dad moment. Woohoo!
Yeah.
That's so. Anyways, hey, Zach, let's do this. Let's take a quick word from our sponsors. When we come back, we will continue.
Pool pros have specific needs when it comes to general liability insurance. The SPPA program has you covered. With 3 tailored and customizable general liability options, SPPA makes it easy for pool pros to feel secure. Find out more and get covered at thesppa.com. Now available, Pool Invoice. Pool Invoice is a pool billing software created specifically for the pool service and repair industry. It's developed for our industry and only our industry. Pool Invoice is built with recurring billing in mind. You can print, email, text invoices, or even send via WhatsApp. You can add reoccurring or yearly charges, accept credits, and set up autopay. You can even see when customers have seen the invoice. It even has a customer portal where they can log in and see, print, and pay invoices. It has all your customers' information on one page, so you don't need to search through hundreds of invoices looking for the one you need. Just go to the customer profile and it's all at your fingertips. Created specifically for the pool industry, Pool Invoice. Now available at poolinvoice.com. Blu-ray XL is the power of minerals working for you. Reduce your overall chemical costs and labor up to 50% guaranteed. Whether you have 20 accounts or 20,000, Blu-ray XL's direct pricing and free shipping to the pool trade have you covered. Improving pool professionals' profit and work-life balance is what they do. Blu-ray XL, the real mineral purifier. Visit them at BluRayXL.com.
Blu-ray all day.
Aquastar's new pipeline cartridge filters, available in 2 sizes, deliver top-notch hydraulic efficiency along with best-in-class filtration performance, approaching that of DE filters. Uniquely designed, open pleat spacing means 100% of the media square footage is usable. And these claims are backed by NSF test results. Designed with the pro's time and comfort in mind, the patented double locking system improves safety and ease of access, making filter cleaners faster than ever before. Available now. Ask your supplier for pipeline filters today.
Natural Chemistry, a leader in specialty water care solutions for over 30 years, is proud to provide products that make pool service easier than ever before. Its unique enzyme formulations in Pro Series Pro Blend improve efficiency of your pool program while reducing frequency of filter cleaning and scum lines. Natural Chemistry is also well known for its wide variety of phosphate removal solutions that include a non-clouding formula in Phos-Free and extremely high-range removal with Pro Series Phos Remove or Phos-Free Max. Save time, save money, save work with Pro Series products. Stop sacrificing durability or efficiency with the help of Raypak's new Avia HD models that utilize NITEC, their exclusive industry-first technology. NITEC heat exchanger technology is Raypak's latest solution to superior strength and maximum efficiency when it comes to residential pool heating. With 900% more nickel compared to copper nickel in critical surfaces, NITEC creates an ideal surface to protect against scale formation and erosion without compromising on Avia's 84% thermal efficiency. Learn more at raypak.com/NITEC. The next evolution in lighting is here. Universal Color Logic 2.0 from Hayward. The latest in pool and spa lighting was designed with you in mind, making installation a breeze. Upgrades include a detachable cord and first-of-a-kind adjustable lower catch to overcome variations in plaster thickness. As always, Universal Color Logic lights retrofit into virtually any in-ground pool or spa while delivering industry-leading, vibrant color. Visit hayward.com to discover more.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Pool Nation Live podcast. We continue our conversation with Mr. Zacharias here. Zach, let me ask you, do you remember any cool stories or moments from the event that stuck to you? I have one, but do you?
Yeah, I had a lot of conversations, and what's cool is hearing the things that are really impacting people. I get a lot of people saying, what would be really helpful is something that we could learn about this, whether it's a topic or not. All along, this is why we do this, is we want to put out content and information that is truly impactful, and we get a lot of that from the people saying what they need. So that was really cool. And hearing people like they're really busy, right? And I heard this a couple of times. It's like they're really busy, but they took the time to come out and invest in themselves and learn when there's probably complete chaos going on, and it's not in their best business interest at that moment in time to be away doing this, but they're doing it because they know it's going to help them in the long run and just making that investment.
Yeah, I think one of the things as business owners is we can always find something to be busy with. And you hear it all the time from business owners. They schedule a vacation and they're like, man, I shouldn't be going on this vacation because I'm too busy. And it's like your business is always going to drain from you no matter what. It's never going to be a good time. There's always going to be something that's going to need your attention. But you do have to take the time, because if you don't sharpen that saw, you're going to come back and you're going to come back into business, and you're really not going to be making an impact if you don't take the time, right? You go to these events and whatever education it is, it fires you up and you come back into business a little bit fired up. I will tell you one of my favorite moments, and this was actually Jennifer from the Pool Boys. And you've always talked about her, and she's like a go-getter, and here's what we're going to do, and boom. And so I'm sitting out in the lobby and I'm talking to Integrity Pool Service, and I'm talking to Carter and Mike, and we're just having this conversation in the lobby and chit-chatting. And then the guy from Tennessee came in and we just all started chit-chatting. And then all of a sudden the classes had already started and they had to go to the pump class. And she comes into the lobby and she's, Mike, Carter, let's go. And they'll like turn around and they're like, what? And she's all, it's time for our class. I'm holding you accountable. Let's go. We're leaving now. Come on, let's go. And she grabbed both of them and pulled them right back into the pump class. And I was excited. I'm like, that's what you want to see, right? You want to see the excitement. Jennifer, which by the way, out of her comfort zone, doesn't know anybody there, goes out, meets these guys, they partner up, they're going through stuff together, and she's holding them accountable going, nope, into the classroom now. And he's like, oh, I'm chit-chatting. And she's like, Carter, let's go now. And she said, I'm holding you accountable. And so
I love it.
It's neat to see that kind of engagement in these boot camps. So it was exciting. So big, huge shout out to Jennifer for doing that. It was awesome.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about Raypak, because we went back to back. We did that and we jumped into what we finished. We finished on Saturday with the Matrix, which was just absolutely amazing at Heritage. And then Wednesday, we were already flying back out to Raypak. So it was literally just a short turnaround time. We had the first, see, we're just forgetting all this stuff. We had the first qualifiers at Heritage. Talk about how cool that was.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was a lot of energy around that. It was cool. The support, people getting involved. You have an expectation of kind of how things were going, and that went way beyond my expectation as far as how into it people were and the energy. And it was a lot of fun.
And I thought it was going to be a little bit different because I thought people would be like chit-chatting and fired up and all that. And the room at the beginning was like really quiet because everybody's tense, right? Like you have these 6, 7 people all going at the same time. And so many people are just standing there like watching, a little nervous. Come on. And then you could hear people like, if somebody would do something, they'd be standing there like, oh. And it was just funny watching the energy. And at one point I yelled in the room because it was so quiet. All you could hear was just the repairs that they were doing. Everybody's like looming over everybody, just watching and stuff like that. And how many people stayed. And it was awesome. It was just the energy in the room. And obviously then they would come out and they were like, man, I was a little bit nervous. And, you know, I wired this wrong, or I forgot to put the cover on because I was trying to go so quick. And it was exciting. It was exciting to see.
And kudos to the people that, you know, participated, because I would never.
It's a spotlight.
Yeah. I mean, I'm very much behind the scenes and, you know, I'm going to hide over in this corner. And people were like, there were people that I know were super nervous and they're like, I'm doing it, you know, and jumped right in. Yeah, that was cool.
I saw participants' hands that were shaking. They were like,
I
before they got started, their hands were like shaking.
Because in the past, and we've talked about this, like there's been some judgment that goes around in the industry. And it's like, at the end of the day, we're all here to get better and learn and support and encourage. And there was none of that. Everyone was like crazy supportive.
It was definitely a great event. So we had both qualifiers. We did that one, and then we did the one in Raypak that we'll talk about. So let's talk about Raypak. But did you find that the energy was different? How did the vibe compare to Heritage?
Yes, great energy, a little bit more intimate. We had a little bit smaller group. The area that we're training in and everything is not as spread out and big as like at Heritage. So it's just a lot more personal, and you're all together, you're all doing these things. So I'd say intimate, but still that same energy is like a lot of people. There were people that had never been there, but then there were a lot of people that it's like they knew the routine. They're excited to learn. They're not so much nervous or shy or reserved. And so that was the difference for me.
Yeah, it was just a little bit smaller, but definitely a little bit more intimate compared to Heritage, but just the engagement was just as much. Now at Heritage, we did all 3 tracks, right? We did hands-on, we did business, we did technical. In Oxnard, it's a little bit of a smaller venue, so we did the hands-on, and then the next day we did just the business and stuff like that. But man, that Raypak with that room, right? The hot room, dude, it's legit. And to have water running through those heaters and gas, and, you know, they brought some of the elements of the heat pumps into the equation this time in that hot room. It's one thing to be able to do something that you're doing offline and you're wiring and you're doing all that, but then to be able to get into that, and they pulled out the manometers, and they were going a little bit deep into these heater classes, and just absolutely love that. Absolutely love it. Our partners every time are going, how can we make this better? What other things can we introduce? Not just, oh, it's another training, let's just do it the same. David Jones with the Attendant was the same thing. He kind of went back and he said, hey, here's what we did in Vegas. And I think if we change the curriculum a little bit here and here, we could make it a little bit better. Oxnard, just absolutely amazing. You had everybody. You had IPSA showed up, and they had, I don't know, like 8 or 9 of the IPSA members that showed up in a group, and they were all supporting themselves. Beto with Mex Pool Techs, there was like 13 of them
It came strong.
that all showed up, that came strong. It's what I'm talking about, Zach, is you're starting to see some of these companies bringing their employees. You're starting to see some of these associations and some of the groups like Beto with the Mex Pool Tax. And, he gathered them all together and there was like 12 of them that showed up and they were all going through the education and they're sitting there and they're just like, man, yeah, we've done education and stuff like that, but at the level that we're doing it here and the hands-on and these other products that we're just don't have exposure to, and they're just leaving like with these aha moments. But I love to see that energy and the groups of people that are coming together going, let's all get together and let's go to these events.
Yeah. And that hot room, man, like
It's
every time I
legit.
walk in there, I'm like, what crazy person figured all this out? It is legit. And how cool is that? You've got the water connections and gas and they're firing and
Yeah.
that's really cool for me to see. I'm like, yeah, this is above my pay grade.
Yeah. But it's just the fact, because you're out in the field and you're fixing a heater and they're like, oh, you don't have enough gas pressure and you got to pull out a manometer. And it's like, how many times do you get that out into the field? And then you don't have anybody to show you how to do it. And they can control the environment and they can grab these heaters and reduce the amount of gas that's coming in so that it airs out and they could use the tools to learn. It's just absolutely amazing. And obviously the dream would be, man, imagine having a big, huge building with all these training centers and having a hot room like that to just be able to train everybody.
Yeah,
how to do
everything,
all that.
pumps and automation connect. Yeah, that'd be bad.
Yeah.
Bad A.
And here, a lot of people here were excited also with the automation with the attendant. They were leaving. I think they did a phenomenal job in tweaking a lot of the education. They sit there and they had this big, huge screen, and then they show everybody how to program this thing. And it's literally tap, boop, and you're done.
It just listening to David and Keith razz each other the whole time, and you get entertainment with your training.
And it's fun, right? Because
Yeah.
it's not your typical, but they've known each other forever. And they talk about it all the time. They're like, oh, we just beat each other up because we've known each other for so long. And you would hear everybody just cracking up and stuff like that. Any standout moments at the Raypak Boot Camp?
I think for me, the standout moment was the business stuff. And the standout moment for me was the fact that we went into day 2 with an expectation of how many people were going to attend. And when we,
I thought there was going to be, Zach, that there was only going to be like 10 people because everybody was bringing their employees. I could see the registrations. And you
right.
had a lot of people bringing their employees.
Yeah. And so it was interesting. It was funny because we went to the networking afterwards and we were chatting, and you brought up something, and me and John were like, every single person that we talked to said they would be there on day 2. And then when we got to day 2, we had a packed room, and so for me, that's really stands out because it's just people are hungry and want to learn these things.
Yeah. If I look at both of them, Zach, if I look at 2 different locations, different vibes, what was the one thing that they had in common? And everybody just wanted more, and everybody wanted more knowledge. Everybody wanted more business growth. Everybody wanted to be part of the community. Everybody's like, we're all chasing this together. We're all competitors, but we can help each other out. And we're all chasing the same success together. So it was great to see that. And then we rolled into the championship there.
Yeah.
That one, that one was
music and everything.
Oh, yeah. And people, and then the way that this one was set up was a little bit different because we had all the stations in the middle of the room. So there was people at Heritage, we put them against the wall in the back, which again, it's why we want to do them so that we could try different things to figure out what works. And in the first one, we put them towards the back end so you couldn't have people stand behind. And then this one, we're like, oh, let's do a little bit different. Let's set up the room and set up all the stations in the middle of the room, and everybody can be around in a circle. It was intense, bro.
Yeah.
It was intense.
And what was cool is because we did day 2 as well, there were people that on day 1 were like, maybe, I don't know, maybe. And then on day 2, they're like, nope, I'm doing it. Like, I'm jumping in and I'm going to do this. And so it was cool to see there was like that hesitation at first. But then, and again, that's what I'm saying. Like, I would be a nervous wreck, everyone watching me and cheering and hooting and hollering and music going. But There's people and they're like, I'm just so nervous. And then they just jump in and do it. And I admire that.
Yeah, you had Katie and Jeff on day 2 that they're like, we're in, we're going to do it, we're going to go. And man, you had Angelo that drove all the way up just to go to the qualifier for the champion. And you had Jaden from Jaden's Pool Service. You had all these guys jumping into it. And then even Justin and Michael were like, hey, let's get some competition. Raypak against Aquastar kind of setting up. And it was great. So all the qualifiers will be out this week. Just really, really excited about that. I think both events went really well. We got a lot of great feedback as to what other things people want, what other content. So we're working on that to just try to take that to the next level. Zach, let's do this. Let's take our second word from our sponsors. When we come back, I want to talk really quick about the next podcast that we're going to do. And then I want to get your final thoughts. We'll be right back.
Pool pros have specific needs when it comes to general liability insurance. The SPPA program has you covered. With 3 tailored and customizable general liability options, SPPA makes it easy for pool pros to feel secure. Find out more and get covered at thesppa.com. Now available, Pool Invoice. Pool Invoice is a pool billing software created specifically for the pool service and repair industry. It's developed for our industry and only our industry. Pool Invoice is built with recurring billing in mind. You can print, email, text invoices, or even send via WhatsApp. You can add reoccurring or yearly charges, accept credits, and set up autopay. You can even see when customers have seen the invoice. It even has a customer portal where they can log in and see, print, and pay invoices. It has all your customers' information on one page, so you don't need to search through hundreds of invoices looking for the one you need. Just go to the customer profile and it's all at your fingertips. Created specifically for the pool industry, Pool Invoice. Now available at poolinvoice.com. Blu-ray XL is the power of minerals working for you. Reduce your overall chemical costs and labor up to 50% guaranteed. Whether you have 20 accounts or 20,000, Blu-ray XL's direct pricing and free shipping to the pool trade have you covered. Improving pool professionals' profit and work-life balance is what they do. Blu-ray XL, the real mineral purifier. Visit them at BluRayXL.com.
Blu-ray all day.
Aquastar's new pipeline cartridge filters, available in 2 sizes, deliver top-notch hydraulic efficiency along with best-in-class filtration performance, approaching that of DE filters. Uniquely designed, open pleat spacing means 100% of the media square footage is usable. And these claims are backed by NSF test results. Designed with the pro's time and comfort in mind, the patented double locking system improves safety and ease of access, making filter cleaners faster than ever before. Available now. Ask your supplier for pipeline filters today.
Natural Chemistry, a leader in specialty water care solutions for over 30 years, is proud to provide products that make pool service easier than ever before. Its unique enzyme formulations in Pro Series Pro Blend improve efficiency of your pool program while reducing frequency of filter cleaning and scum lines. Natural Chemistry is also well known for its wide variety of phosphate removal solutions that include a non-clouding formula in Phos-Free and extremely high-range removal with Pro Series Phos Remove or Phos-Free Max. Save time, save money, save work with Pro Series products. Stop sacrificing durability or efficiency with the help of Raypak's new Avia HD models that utilize NITEC, their exclusive industry-first technology. NITEC heat exchanger technology is Raypak's latest solution to superior strength and maximum efficiency when it comes to residential pool heating. With 900% more nickel compared to copper nickel in critical surfaces, NITEC creates an ideal surface to protect against scale formation and erosion without compromising on Avia's 84% thermal efficiency. Learn more at raypak.com/NITEC. The next evolution in lighting is here. Universal Color Logic 2.0 from Hayward. The latest in pool and spa lighting was designed with you in mind, making installation a breeze. Upgrades include a detachable cord and first-of-a-kind adjustable lower catch to overcome variations in plaster thickness. As always, Universal Color Logic lights retrofit into virtually any in-ground pool or spa while delivering industry-leading, vibrant color. Visit Hayward.com to discover more.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Pool Nation Live podcast. We continue our conversation with Mr. Zacharias here. So, Zach, there's two things that I want to do. I want to get your final thoughts, and then I want to talk just really quick about some of the things with the habits of some of these highly successful pool pros that we've seen. So let me get your final thoughts.
Yeah, this was a really fun few weeks getting out there. And like we talked about, just the energy and seeing the excitement and people getting more involved and getting more comfortable with investing in themselves to educate. And I personally, I learn a ton. I look back to before we met and I met John and we started this journey. And it's like, I was not the networky type of person. I was not the conversationalist. And it's like through this journey, I have been able to kind of get out of my shell, get more comfortable and build this network and meet these people and build friendships and then learn as well. So this is just a personal growth journey. So I think what you said too about if you come to an event, come to it with a purpose, with intention, and get out of your comfort shell and shake hands and introduce yourself and have conversations. And I'm now seeing people that are coming back and it's like, oh, hey, how's it going? And they met them at another event, just building those relationships. And I will say, I have to give a big shout out to Matt Mann because on the second day, he said something and it really stuck with me. And this kind of ties into the overall where we were talking about the finance training and KPIs that Josh did and everything. And Matt said something that I think everyone should hear, and that's people don't do what's expected, they do what's inspected. And so I literally took that back to my team and I wrote it on the board. And I'm like, there is so much truth to this, but that just goes right into what we've always talked about. You're not just going to come and sit down and hear from Edgar, John, and Zac, and that's it. Like you're going to learn something and be able to take away something from other people that are involved. So for those of you that have been hearing about this, but maybe haven't taken the leap to jump into one of these boot camps or trainings that we put on, I would highly encourage it. It's a good time. And I think you would definitely walk away with something.
Yeah, 100%. And we meet so many amazing people at these events that just go under the radar, that they're really superstars out there. And so I want to give a shout out to all those absolutely amazing people that we meet. One of them was Kendall Cowder from Pooley, which we put on the cover of the e-magazine. This is the spotlights and the insights. Somebody new to the industry. She's been out in the industry for about a year now, and we've seen her just make strides. And she said something that stuck to me. And even Kevin from Pool Brain sent it over to me. And he goes, she said, I might not be the strongest, but I will outwork every single one of them, and I will do it with joy. That kind of stuck with me because it's a lot of our mindset, Zach, right? You know, a lot of people come to you and, oh, I'm stronger than you and I'm blah, blah, blah. But those that are successful are those that don't give up and have the mindset, but you'll never outwork me. So we meet so many amazing people like that at these events and we hear their stories. Gosh, we met Dan, his son, which is in the spotlights and insights as well. You know, his son is an engineer and saw what his dad has built and was like, man, this is a big, huge business. I want to be part of that. I want to be part of building a big empire that we can pass on to our children and stuff like that. You know, neat stories, you know, learning about Antonio from the Matrix Group, right? He used for work for this big, huge company, 25 employees, and he went on his own to go run his empire. We had dinner with Larry, with Alicia. I mean, it's just so neat to get together with all these people and learn their stories and their journeys and their traits. And it's made us think of something that I'm going to talk about here. But before I do that, so I don't forget, I do want to give a shout out. And I know that we talk about certain people. I want to give a shout out to everybody that attended, not just the people that we're mentioning. We really want to thank you for showing up, for putting in the work, and for being part of something bigger. Of course, we can't forget about Raypak. We can't forget about Heritage. We can't forget about any of our sponsors, everybody, right? The SPPA, Blu-ray, Heritage, every Hayward, every Pool Brain, every one of you. We couldn't do this without you guys. And our partners are just absolutely amazing. Everybody, Todd, everybody. I just want to thank everybody that showed up, that did the work. We're looking forward to putting more of these together and to making them even better and better every year. But Zac, going back just really quick, we've started to look at, man, what are some of the traits of the people that are successful, right? The people, and it doesn't matter if you're Josh Chandler with gold medal pools and have 5,000 or 6,000 pools, or Hal with NPP and 13,000 pools, or Sarah, right, with they do 700 pools, or even some of the smaller companies that are one poolers that don't want to have big companies. What are those traits of those people that we see that are successful at doing what they do? And I think we've come up with a little bit of a list, but we're going to add to it because we just started talking about this, started trying to figure out what are the key habits of these people that make them successful. So in the next podcast, Zac, and I'm giving us homework as I'm talking about this right now. So no, I'm giving myself homework. Dang it. But, I think
accountability, baby.
Accountability, right? To talk about it. And so you're accountable for that next podcast. I want to talk about what are some of those key traits. And so if you had to pick some of them, what would be some of them off the top of your head?
So obviously, like we've talked about this, and this is one of our core things, is knowing your numbers. And I don't mean that in a sense of you have mastered your numbers and so therefore you are now successful, but it is that not being afraid of digging in and starting to understand these things and look at your finances and look at your cost of service and look at your expenses and what it's truly taking to run your business. And we're obviously going to dive into each of these a little bit further, but I think that's we've talked about it, this as well as it's like the aha moment where people, they kind of, well, I don't know what to charge for XYZ repair or for service, but it's like once they figure that out, they're like, no, I know what I have to charge. And then the confidence that comes with that and your ability to sell, it just goes up from there. So definitely, I think one of the main ones is knowing your numbers.
Yeah, I think some of the other ones is they build systems, and we talk about operational efficiency, and they build systems, not just skills. And in order for you to be able to scale, you have to have systems in place that can be repeatable, that can be scalable. I did talk to quite a couple of people during these boot camps that have a lot of systems built in place. And you go to gold medal and everything is operational efficiency. So that was exciting. So I think that's another one.
Yeah. And then there's just this thirst of getting better and learning and educating themselves through all means, whether that's a podcast, a book, a training, a class, and understanding that it is a commitment, there is a cost, it can be an inconvenience, but the understanding the true value of that and just always seeking out more information.
Absolutely. Yeah. So those are a couple of them. We'll get into more detail. We have a couple other ones that we've talked about, but Zac, I think it might end up being a 2-part podcast. I'm foreseeing that right now because and man, just on some of those, we could go spend hours. So, but anyways, I hope everybody's enjoyed the podcast. I hope everybody has a great week. Zac, thanks so much for jumping on. John wasn't on. John had kind of gotten back and he was super, super busy and he wanted to come on the podcast, but he had a couple appointments and Zac and I were like, nope, you're not allowed to be on. So he got a little bit mad.
I had to say, no, you can't come on.
Yeah, then that's exactly what happened. It was like, no, you can't be on. We're not going to send you the link. But hope everybody has a good weekend. Everybody that we met and that we spent some time with, it's absolutely amazing. Thanks for being part of the Pool Nation family. Have a great one. Bye, guys.
See ya.
Thanks for listening to the Pool Nation podcast, a member of the Pool Nation family. You can listen to us live every Friday here at 9 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Central, and 12 noon Eastern Standard Time. You can find us at Pool Nation or poolnationpodcast.com, on Facebook, or on Instagram at pool.nation. And to find more info about Pool Invoice, the billing software built specifically for the pool industry, go to poolinvoice.com. Before you go, this is what the pool industry has been waiting for. Poolmanuniversity.com. It's the first platform dedicated to learning the swimming pool service and repair industry. A pool service community where you can connect and find videos on business, service, water chemistry, and repairs. See you there at poolmanuniversity.com.